we are now joined, and I got to get this right. Let me see just a second. By JY. He's the podcast, the host of the Big Mountain Podcast, covers the Mountain West Conference, and all of a sudden, all sorts of news going out from that conference, the survival, the lawsuit, who's coming, who's going, who's not. And JY now joins us on 365 Sports. Thank you for your time. So in your opinion, did the Pac-12's lawsuit scare Gloria Nevarez? Because it doesn't appear to be that way with her statement released late last night.
Yeah, hey, thank you guys for having me on. Really appreciate that. I don't think it does at all. I mean, this is what we have seen now with realignment. We saw it with the Pac about a year ago. We're seeing what's going on with the ACC. When you talk realignment, you're talking lawsuits. So I don't think it was surprising at all. And I am not going to be surprised when there's a countersuit by the Mountain West, quite frankly. I don't know that that's coming, but don't be surprised when it does, because that's just the name of the game these days.
What is your gut feeling now about the future?
Well, my gut changes daily these days for the Mountain West. And, my gut right now, and I was able to listen to John here just before you had me on, and I've been following him for a while. He's done great work with the Pac. And, I'm a Mountain West fan, and that was my focus. But when everything went down with the Pac a year ago, I mean, we followed those lawsuits very closely, and we've been following the Beavers and the Cougars ever since. So I've really gotten to know those two schools pretty well. Their presidents and ADs and all the changes that they've had. But for the Mountain West, I mean, as we know, they've lost 5 schools. Whether or not they're going to lose a 6th, I think is up in the air. Certainly UNLV is that 6th potential loss for the Mountain West and 8th potential add for the Pac. I think that's at the top of the list for the Pac here right now. And we're going to see, I think, soon what UNLV is going to do. I think they've got a difficult situation in the short term with some of the debt that they have. I think, what they're looking at is trying to get the biggest bang for the buck, in my opinion, as quickly as possible. From the Mountain West, the war chest here has moved from the Pac to the Mountain West. The Mountain West is going to have a significant war chest, if you want to call it that. That's been the term used there with the Pac for a while. And how they divvy that up, we're not 100% sure. We've seen what the Mountain West has proposed. They had a kind of an 8-member MOU. Obviously, that had to go by the wayside when Utah State did what they did. They're working on a 7-member MOU. Of course, there's more money now because of Utah State leaving. So I think, honestly, UNLV goes to the highest bidder, and that highest bidder, if it's, money in their pocket today, I think is the Mountain West. Now, I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen, but if they're looking short term, the Mountain West has the money right now, thanks to the Pac. So that's where I'm at with UNLV. I think, there's this dissolution smoke out there. I'm not buying it right now, with or without UNLV, and even with or without Air Force, I'm not buying it. I think you've got a strong 5 members or 6 members here. We saw what the Pac went through. They went all the way down to 2, and now they're rebuilding. The same type of deal can happen with the Mountain West, whether it's a 5, 6, 7-member core that moves on. They're going to have plenty of money to rebuild. We know that word has come out. They've already had interest from certain FBS and FCS schools. The top of my list includes New Mexico State and UTEP. There's been some talk that New Mexico State has already reached out. And the top of my list for FCS is Sac State. I mean, you look at Sacramento State, they just, before all of this even happened, about a month ago, they came out with a committee that's trying to get them to FBS. It's a great market. I believe it's the 20th in the nation. That kind of can replace the Fresno loss, at least for market value. It's a nice partner with San Jose State. So Sacramento State makes a lot of sense, and everybody loves the Montanas. I don't know if they're looking to make that jump. But I know John also mentioned that $5 million payment that it is now. It used to be a very small, was it 5,000 or 50,000, something incredibly small. It's now $5 million. But again, I'm going to go back to the war chest and say, if I'm the Mountain West, I'm giving the $5 million easily to any FCS school in that area that would be interested. Sac State's near the top of my list. And he mentioned Texas, and I agree. I think Texas State for both of these conferences would be huge. I don't know if they're looking to leave the Sun Belt. Clearly, that would be kind of the eastern side of either of these conferences. But if I'm both the Pac and the Mountain West, I'm at least calling Texas State, trying to get into that state. So I just said a mouthful there, but that's where I'm at.
That's okay. And what caught my attention with your Twitter feed was when you put out the money breakdown of the 5 schools leaving that leads up to $167.5 million withdrawal fees, bylaw exit fees, departure fees. And if it gets a 6, it's nearly $200 million. And so that's the money you're talking about based on who is leaving. And if there's a settlement, it's still going to be a big, large chunk of money.
Absolutely. It's going to be a much larger war chest than even the Pac had to deal with. In terms of bringing schools in, they're using the war chest to even fund operating costs for the next few years. And the Mountain West, as everybody knows, is going out for a new media rights deal here. Some people say they're shopping it now without even knowing who the members are actually going to be. I can't confirm that, but that has been some rumors. And so, yeah, I just think that they're going to have a lot of money at their disposal to be able to rebuild this. And yes, that's the money, even with or without litigation. We all know litigations usually end in a settlement. So whether it's, potentially 150 million or anything above 100 million, it's significantly more than what, the Pac had to use to kind of bring these teams in. So I think there's plenty of money to be had there.
Did you see this coming when they made the scheduling alliance?
Well, I think everybody was very worried about it, which is why they put all of these coaching penalties and all of these extra exit fee costs and whatnot. I mean, it was only natural when all of this happened that the Mountain West was the easiest target. That wasn't their first target. Clearly, we saw what they've tried to do. They originally were trying to get a P4 invite, specifically Big 12 and ACC, and it just has never come. So they clearly have had to move on from that, this being the Pac-2. Their next go-around really was looking at a rebuild. And here on the Big Mountain, we kind of got away from a rebuild because that didn't look like it really had many legs. They were just so focused on getting a bridge in order to have the finances for the next few years to try and get a Power 4 invite. That's kind of looked like where things were headed. Well, then, everything got turned upside down when, those 4 schools kind of switched and said, hey, we want to go to the Pac. Well, that just changed the ball game there. And, we saw the reporting that happened very, very quickly. I know Jeremiah Dickey, the AD for Boise State, said, when he came in that Monday, he certainly didn't think there was going to be an announcement, I believe it was that Wednesday, that they were joining the Pac. That's how fast all of that kind of came to an end or actually happened. Was the fear there when the scheduling agreement? Absolutely. Everybody knew it. I personally thought the poaching penalties and things were enough to only allow this to happen for 3 or 4 schools. And we had said that on our channel for a while. We thought that because of the poaching penalties, because of the exit fees, because of what the war chest was for the Pac, they could only really afford 3 or 4 schools. They couldn't afford 8 or so schools unless the Mountain West fully dissolved, which then all that money is, it's off the table. There's no more poaching penalty. There's no more exit fee because the Mountain West dissolved. But, if they're not going to take 8 or 9 schools in order for a dissolution to happen, that's why I don't see that happening. The Pac isn't going to take enough schools, and I don't see the schools wanting to dissolve because of the new war chest. But in realignment, I'll tell you, I wake up every day, I pop open my Twitter, and I think, okay, what craziness is going to happen today? Because it's just going off the rails right now.
I'm not taking sides, and none of us really have, on the Matthew Sluka, UNLV, whatever. Whatever happens there, he's gone. They're 3-0. They try to move on. But what's the difference in Matthew Sluka making a decision to go to UNLV, and he thinks UNLV reneged on that, whether they did or not, and UNLV saying they're committed to the Mountain West, and then a day or two later they change their mind, and aren't they hypocritical too?
It's a great point. I think everybody's being hypocritical right now. I'm pretty jaded with what just went on with the PAC. I took a lot of the comments from President Schultz with Washington State very literally, in that he wouldn't use that money for poaching penalties. They would use that money for their schools. Well, he changed his mind, and I get it. People change their mind. You know, Sluka changed his mind for whatever reason, and we don't know the true story. You know, the real story. Never will, like you said. And UNLV can change their mind, but you're right. It makes everybody hypocritical. I think it's who can do the most for me today, and I don't really care about tomorrow, and that's just where we're at right now. I will just say from the UNLV side, to take a step back, I give them a lot of credit. They're taking their time here, and I don't know why that is. I don't know if they're trying to get the best bang for their buck. They're playing the two conferences against each other. They have to deal with the governors or the regents, I guess it is, in the state of Nevada and all that kind of jazz. I don't know what it all is. It certainly looks like they've slowed it down a little bit. I don't for the reason, but I give them credit for that, because a lot of mistakes can be made when you're in a rush. So I'll give them credit there. I don't know if it's credit that's due or not, but I'll give them the credit.
All right, Jay, are you under house arrest or something that you can't give us your real name? Seriously, I mean, like JY's pretty cool, though. By the way.
Thank you. No, it's Jason. My real name is Jason. I go by JY because I got to be cool. It's
absolutely.
The way of the world.
It's a hip hop thing. And you do a hell of a job, and you've done a great job following this story, and I follow you for it. And thanks for jumping on last second with us. Good luck the rest of the way, and have a great day.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
You too.
JY, Jason, with the Big Mountain Podcast from